Looking at this antique map of 17th century India, you can see how the subcontinent was entirely carved up by massive, wealthy powers like the Mughal Empire in the north and the Adil Shahi Sultanate to the south. These empires maintained their grip through sheer conventional military might. They relied on massive standing armies and devastating heavy cavalry charges sweeping across open plains. For a local population, meeting these massive forces in a traditional head-on battlefield formation was mathematical suicide. The imperial forces held every advantage in numbers, wealth, and artillery. Against these odds, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj envisioned a completely independent, self-ruling state, a concept known as Swaraja. Shivaji Maharaj abandoned conventional doctrine to build a military system designed specifically to exploit imperial weaknesses. His first advantage was the physical landscape itself. By adopting a guerrilla warfare strategy known as Ganimi Kawa, Shivaji shifted the theater of conflict away from the flat plains and into the steep, rugged terrain of the Western Ghats. He built a highly mobile military force from the ground up, recruiting local farmers and villagers who intimately knew every hidden trail and narrow pass in these mountains. Instead of lining up in formal formations, these light infantry units bypassed direct confrontation. They exhausted the larger, slower imperial armies through continuous hit-and-run offensives, ambushes, and sudden night raids. To anchor this mobile strategy, Shivaji constructed and fortified dozens of high-altitude hill forts, positioning them on extremely narrow stone ridges. These forts functioned as an interconnected operational network. They served as secure supply depots, safe havens for troops, and relay stations for a sophisticated espionage system that tracked enemy movements across the region. By combining the geographic extremes of the mountains with highly mobile local troops, Shivaji turned the landscape itself into a deadly trap for conventional armies. While the mountains secured the inland territories, the Arabian Sea presented a strategic blind spot for the Mughals and Adil Shahis, who had almost entirely neglected naval development. Shivaji recognized that the seas were quickly becoming contested by arriving European colonizers, primarily the heavily armed Portuguese and British fleets seeking to monopolize trade. In 1654, he began constructing a chain of specialized island forts directly off the coast, serving as both defensive barriers and active naval shipyards. He knew he couldn't match the heavy European galleons gun for gun, so he designed Maratha vessels to be much smaller and faster, giving them a tight turning radius to harass and outmaneuver the larger, cumbersome colonial ships. Establishing a formidable navy allowed the Marathas to force a two-front war on the mainland empires, while successfully securing and taxing the crucial coastal trade routes that funded their independence. Despite relying on raids and guerrilla tactics, the Maratha forces operated under a strict ethical code of conduct rather than acting as an undisciplined pillaging army. Shivaji Maharaj issued explicit battlefield orders. His soldiers faced severe punishment if they harmed women, destroyed mosques, or disrespected the Quran, even when operating deep inside enemy territory. His administration operated with clear, secular pragmatism. Muslim commanders held highly trusted positions within the Maratha ranks, including the chief of artillery and key naval commanders. This moral discipline and commitment to equal justice across faiths earned the Maratha leadership the absolute loyalty of the local population. The combination of guerrilla land tactics, a newly forged navy, and unified public support stalled the mighty land and sea empires. They were outmaneuvered and forced to recognize Maratha power. In 1674, at the mountain fortress of Raigad, Shivaji Maharaj translated these military victories into formal sovereignty through a grand coronation ceremony. To govern this new state, he immediately implemented the Ashta Pradhan, a council of 8 distinct ministers. This structure organized his rebel force into a modern, functional bureaucracy with specialized administrative departments. He established the markers of an independent economy and culture by proclaiming a new calendar era and minting sovereign gold coinage, known as the Han. The infrastructure of his reign remains embedded in the landscape today, where countless forts and his stone Samadhi shrine stand as testaments to his rule. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj transformed a disparate rebel movement into a permanent, self-ruling nation. by matching his military disruption with a sophisticated administrative state.